getting back to football, we were talking about Luck earlier. If Luck returned from retirement, right, like today, before even they traded for Wentz, where do you think the Colts would rank in the NFL? Like, would they be right there with the Chiefs?
Ooh. If Luck came back,
Assuming
like,
he was how he was when he left.
Yeah, right.
yeah, I mean, they would be contenders out of AFC for sure. I mean, you got the Chiefs. Who else would I put up there right
I mean,
now?
the Bills are.
Chiefs, Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I would put the Colts. I would put the Colts above Buffalo. So I'll probably put them two right behind the Chiefs. If with Luck in the fold.
The one thing that really surprised me, and I hope Defo doesn't watch the podcast because Defo is a friend of the page. I did not buy the hype on the defense before last season started. I know they had good pieces.
Whoa.
Well, I like I said, I wasn't a Rhodes believer, so I was like,
Okay.
I was high on Julian Blackman. He was on my most like underrated draft players list. I loved him. I'm still a big Malik Hooker fan. I think wherever he goes, I'm interested to watch him. I like Malik Hooker.
I'm a
Darius Leonard,
big Hook
obviously a
fan
beast.
too.
And I thought they would be a good defense, but like I did my top 10 defense rankings before the season. I didn't have them in top 10.
Yeah, man, you left out one big name even before Defoe, Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore is one of the best, slot defenders in the game. Plays great on the outside as well, but that slot defender position is so important in today's NFL, especially when you're playing multiple defense. You're playing some man, you're playing some zone. He does a great job rushing the passer as well. Does a great job showing up in the run game. So when you have a guy who can play at a high level at that slot position, and then you add a guy like Xavier Rhodes who can hold his own on the outside. TJ Carey was a big signing as well, a guy who can play, who has experience playing kind of all over defense. Rocky Sin, I think, needs to take a jump. He kind of was one of the weak links on their team. Blackman came in and played phenomenal. I didn't expect him to come in and play that well, especially coming off an ACL. Willis made strides, and then you add a guy like Defoe up there who changes the game up front with Grover Stewart. So they got a lot of good pieces, and they got a great, obviously, you mentioned Leonard, and then you got Eberflus who sets the standard, and the standard is the standard. You saw the tweet that Leonard put out. Hey, if you're a free agent, you think about coming here to the Colts. Like, this is basically like, big name, little name, like, come in, lay it on the line for your brother. And that's the mindset there. And when you have that mindset and everybody's on the same page, the sky's the limit.
What do you think with Wentz? Like, first, what do you expect from him? And then, do you really believe they're Super Bowl contenders with him? I personally do. Like, I think that highly of Wentz. I think he could be a top 7 quarterback in the NFL. Like, we've seen him do it. He almost won MVP before he tore his ACL. Like, what are you expecting going into this next season for them?
So I would say I was the first guy to put this Wentz Indy thing together. This was like before he was even benched in Philly. I saw it was just broken. It was done. So I'm like, you draft the Hurts, see what you got with Hurts. Wentz is kind of, I think, after Foles, he never really truly recovered after Foles.
Yeah.
Won that Super Bowl and got that statue. And in a city like Philly, they're not. That's a rough fan base to play in front of week in and week out. Coming from a small town kid coming from North Dakota, I just felt like the fit in Midwest and Indy back with Frank Wright, who had so much success with, and some other familiar faces on that staff. I just saw that being the best landing spot for him and for the Colts. Kind of locking in their quarterback for the long run because they've kind of had some guys. Some spot duty since Luck. So you get Wentz to play anywhere close to what he was playing in 2017 with Frank being his OC. This team is built. You got Jonathan Taylor who came along and had a phenomenal year as a running back. You got Hines. You got weapons over there, and we talked about the defense. So if you can put all that together, and we don't need him to come out here and throw for 5,000 yards. Just do your job. Don't turn the ball over. Put some points up on the board, and this team can go out there, and I believe they can go out there and beat anybody.
You think they bring T.Y. Hilton back?
It's got to be at the right price. I think T.Y. wants to be there, but T.Y., I know he's not a guy who's going to play for 14, 15, 16 years, so this will likely be probably his last deal. I've heard that out of his mouth myself. I don't know if that's changed at this point, but so I'm sure he would want to stay there and kind of finish what he started. He got some things, I think he's probably third on like the receiver list. Obviously, you got Marvin, you got Reggie, and then you got Ty, who's put up his, amazing career in his own right. So I'm pretty sure he would probably want to finish what he started there. But it's business, so he's going to get the best deal that's available, which I think he should. He didn't have a great year last year, statistic wise, and I think playing with a quarterback like Wentz, he could have a better year because he's a receiver who stretches. He should stretch a defense. When you're playing with Phillip Rivers as a defender, as a D-back, I'm not concerned. I'm not as concerned with the ghost with Phillip Rivers as the quarterback. But if you got a guy that can launch at 60, 65 down the field, now we got to think about where 13 is, down in, down out.
Yeah, it had to be frustrating last year playing with Phillip. And I didn't hate that signing when they got Phillip last year, but you could see like he was no longer Phillip Rivers when that last year in San Diego or LA, his arm was just shot. I mean, both times the Raiders played him, he made the Raiders look like freaking 86 Bears. I was like, wow, like you can't throw a football anymore. And luckily the Colts, their offensive line's so nice. They set up that enough time to just, let me dink and dunk here. I got a great defense behind me. And they nearly beat the Bills in the playoffs too.
Yeah, that was the thing about Phillip. I mean, he did a pretty good job. He did better than I expected him to do. Honestly, cut back on the turnovers, didn't turn the ball over as much. He's accurate, and that's what he's been. That was what Chris Ballard was raving about, even in the preseason. Just his accuracy. They had went like I want to say like 4 or 5 games. He'd ever been efficient, like not even having a 3 and out or something like that, like the first 5 or 6 games. So he did some things, but in today's league, you need that. You need a dynamic playmaker back there, and Wentz's ceiling obviously is a lot higher than what Phillip Rivers was last year, and obviously he's accomplished some tremendous things in this league, played a long time, and hopefully the Colts had a quarterback because I think I wouldn't say Frank Wright is on a hot seat, but this team and the way it's built, like they want to win. They want to win championships. So one and dones in the playoffs, that's not going to cut it.
Hopefully they get a good replacement for Costanzo too, even if it's signed somebody in free agency or something. I mean, maybe you open up the checkbook and pay like Trent Williams or something if they allow him to leave.
That would be beautiful. Try to figure out a way to get Orlando Brown.
Yeah.
Something. If you can because that's the in my opinion, if I'm putting together a team, like the top 3 most important things to me: quarterback, pass rusher, blindside protector, or left tackle. In the NFL today, left tackle, right tackle, but just a dominant guy. They got a pretty dominant right tackle, Brady Smith. So if you can sew up that left side of the line, and Costanzo, he did his thing for a decade, played at a high level. So that's definitely a very, very important position.